Alright, hello everyone, welcome to the stream tonight. I'm just going to double check that that's all good in terms of everything going on. But if anybody is watching in a bit, welcome. We're just going to be talking Mass Effect today. Welcome. We're just going to be talking. Yeah, audio is good. I just quickly double checked that audio all seems to be good. Just quickly changing all the settings on the stream. There we are. So I am very quickly just popping all the settings on. There we are. Okay, so to anyone watching in a bit or now or whenever, thank you very much. Do appreciate anyone who does watch. But yeah, today we're just talking about Mass Effect 4 and all the rest of it. But yeah, I'm just going to be playing Destiny 2 in the background. Let's have a look. What have we got to do? I should really go to the tower, get all my bounties and such. It's weird because I'm watching the stream on like a second monitor and then I've got like my main game screen on. But yeah, it's good to say. Yeah, today we've got loads to talk about. I've got, honestly, there's so much sort of Bioware news come out in the past like few days, a week, that is mental. Unfortunately, majority of it is bad news. As you guys have heard, Bioware recently have laid off around 50 employees. From what I've seen on the list of the 50 employees, rather, not all of them, I don't think have been named publicly, but most of them have. A lot of them are things like writers, illustrators, special effect artists working mainly on Dragon Age, but it is, Dragon Age, Mass Effect across the board, like some of the staff who did work on Star Wars as well. And some of those employees have been with Bioware for 17, 20 years, and they've just been let go. So Bioware have come out and said that these have been due to sort of, I guess, refocusing and restructuring the studio, but I've got to be honest, from all the evidence that I've seen come out online, it is looking more and more and more likely that it is due to EA budget cuts. I don't know if you guys have seen, but EA have dropped massive. Basically, they've dropped profits over the past few years, and unfortunately, it does seem like a lot of the single player games are being affected, other than Star Wars, because Star Wars is obviously a massive IP that no matter what, you could literally have the worst mobile game ever, and as long as it's got Star Wars branding attached to it, it will be fine, so to speak. But yeah, with the news coming out from Bioware recently, it's quite alarming, to say the least. But I think it's really more interesting than anything to sort of see. Actually, what else do I need from the tower? So if you guys are tuning in, we are talking about the recent Bioware news, Mass Effect news. I am just playing Destiny just to have something in the background for you guys, rather than having me or anything like that. But yeah, it is quite alarming, the news, I've got to be honest. If you guys, again, haven't heard us, quickly repeat it. Bioware have laid off 50 employees, and it's not looking good. It is. I think Dragon Age seems to be more affected, because it is, majority of the staff have been more part of the, I guess, like Dragon Age team, but nevertheless, it is quite worrying. It honestly is very worrying, actually. What have we got to do on Neomuna? I'm going to do some stuff on Neomuna. I think I've got to do stuff I've got to finish some old quests that I just haven't finished in ages and ages. Oh yeah, I've got to do the Cade's Fate story mission. I might do that afterwards. But hey. Hey Dan the man, hope you're having a good day. Well, hello to anyone watching, really. Yeah, Mass Effect. It's really weird. By the way, if you guys haven't seen, Saria, who's like a fellow content creator. She mainly does Dragon Age stuff, but does cover Mass Effect and things. She has done an excellent video which came out today, actually about an hour ago, covering the Bioware news, and I thought it was fantastic. I've watched it. It's about 10-15 minutes. I think it's like 12 minutes long, actually, but she covers the news so well. I'm actually just tempted really quickly. I'll just pop an emote on. Hang on, to put the touch grass emote on. I'm actually just going to quickly find that. I have it somewhere. I've literally just watched it a second ago. Where is it? There we are. So I'm just going to pop it in the chat. Just say, I really do recommend like opening another tab or something and watching this that I've just put in the chat. Really, really good video, basically covering the recent Bioware layoffs. I was actually in the middle of doing a video, and then she released that, and I kind of just feel like my video would be inferior, and I feel like that video that she's done is just miles better. In terms of, she's just done a really good job. She's gathered all the news, really informative. I really recommend watching that. But I will do a video at some point talking about the layoffs in a bit more detail. I did do a video on it the other day. But yeah, just reading your comment, Dan. I hope you're well. The hype is so real for the next Mass Effect sequel. How would you feel if you were playing as a new character near the OG timeline? So it's really interesting, because I think we've all thought about it at some point. But I don't know, personally, I know that's going to get a lot of ruffled feathers already in the chat, and rather might have a few heated discussions and whatnot. But I've got to be honest, for me, I don't actually want to see Shepard return. I really don't. I want to see either a new character. I don't want to see Ryder. I've got to be honest. that would be even worse. But yeah, I feel like Shepard's story was sort of well told, start to finish. Well, other than the last sort of 5 minutes of Mass Effect 3, but that's a whole other topic. Hey Luvu, hope you're good. I just want it to be good, rather, to be honest. But it is quite alarming what's going on at Bioware, though. But in terms of Mass Effect, I have no idea what's going to happen. We are that early in development, and I've got to be honest, the more sort of news we do hear regarding the next Mass Effect game, the more and more I'm convinced it's been about, excuse my language here, pardon my French, but it's been an absolute shit show in terms of marketing and everything. I feel as though the games aren't coming out for another, oh god, I really do think with everything going on at Bioware currently in terms of the layoffs and the development hell, I do think Dragon Age especially is going to be another few years. Apparently the game, from like internal sources, is meant to be like sort of done. It's meant to be, apparently it is playable start to finish in like a very rough state. Again, there's gameplay online. There's a couple of like actual gameplay sources if you guys want to go check that out. I'm obviously not going to post links to it because I don't want the wrath of EA, so to speak. But yeah, I'm really worried for both Dragon Age and Mass Effect, especially with these recent layoffs. Oh Jesus, I feel like two people aren't going to easily do this, so we may have to abandon ship here. Oh, Jesus, I've got my Crucible layout on, loadout on actually, so I'm not really doing too well. I don't know if I can. Oh. It's really hard to talk Mass Effect and do this whilst I'm being shot at the same time. I can't really get this interceptor. His head's not really poking out too well, and he's being shielded. Can I just like jump on side? Oh no, god. There's like one or two people, but to be honest, I might just go and do the story mission because I forgot that I actually had that to do, which is the if you guys haven't seen in Destiny, they've released the fact that you can like replay certain story missions to catch up. So believe it's in the timeline, question mark? There we are. Oh, that's what he said, Hive. I want the Cade one. There we are. This is, in my opinion, I love this mission. This is one of my favourite like FPS campaign missions. Hey, username. Hey again, Dan. Yeah, in terms of a Mass Effect TV show, I've sort of already covered it on the channel. But in terms of like a Mass Effect TV show, there are rumours that there is actually scripts, like as in sort of very early draft scripts running. They're out in the ether. There are actual like documented cases of it. I don't know if it'd be Amazon who pick it up, or I don't think it'd be Netflix, but it's definitely not going to be Disney. I don't know why I had Disney Plus floating around in my head then, but yeah, no, I really do think that in terms of Mass Effect, I think Amazon would be a good choice. I'm not a fan of what they've done with Lord of the Rings in terms of Power of the Ring, but oh, sorry, Dan, if I missed your comment, so I'm just reading it at the same time. But, yeah, in terms of, like, OG characters, in terms of Dark Matter, again, I've briefly touched on this on the channel. I've got to do a video entirely focused on it at some point. It is on my list of things to do. I do think the next story will involve Dark Matter. I do think it will involve a civil war, so to speak, where it's essentially powers fighting over control, resources, and whatnot. I don't really know, going into it. Oh, hey, Liv, I did mention that on the last stream, actually. Again, I haven't really got round to watching the Mass Effect movie. Again, that is on my list of videos to do. It's just a case of trying to actually get it out. I was actually going to do it recently, but then obviously the whole news with the layoffs and everything going on at Bioware currently dropped. And again, if you guys are looking for something to watch, earlier on in the stream I did pop video to watch by fellow Bioware content creator Saria in the chat. I feel like that is an excellent video that covers all of the news and how it impacts Mass Effect and Dragon Age in like a really informative way, so I really recommend watching that. But yeah, in terms of the next Mass Effect game, honestly, at this point, anything can happen. Like, genuinely, Bioware could go as far as completely reshaping the story in the world and everything that they've already built, because it's that sort of early on in production. Oh, they've completely redone this story mission, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad, or I mean, personally, this is, if you guys haven't played Destiny 2, this mission is essentially like where Cade 6 dies, and I think it's just a brilliant mission where you're basically going to like a prison of elders, and you basically do like a massive prison break sort of thing. Well, it's more not a prison break; it's rather you're trying to stop the Scorn from doing a prison break. But there we are. How do you guys feel? I asked this in a previous stream, but how would you guys feel about a Mass Effect MMO? Who would the factions be in the Civil War? So the Alliance, Cerberus. I feel like maybe a new faction that rise to power. But I don't know. It'd be like the Alliance, be Cerberus, probably. Maybe like all the different factions within all the different races, so like obviously the Asari, the Quarians, etc, etc. I feel like that these will be the factions fighting over power, but again, I don't really know. I feel like I'd love to see the result of if you cure the genophage or not. I imagine the canon choice would be that you do, but I'd love to see how that impacts the rest of the galaxy and how the Krogan react, because especially the Solarians were and the Turians as well were terrified that if the genophage was cured, effectively the Krogans would go on an absolute rampage.
Sure, got it. One question? How do I do this? Press the red button.
It's funny that you mentioned like early on Mass Effect 2, because I've seen lots of people mentioning like a cloning or like a cryo freeze theory where they think like Shepard's going to be cloned again or cryo frozen again, or like a forward out rather, and that's what Liara's doing in the trailer. That she's going to essentially fall out Shepard from this other planet, but I feel like cloning, we've been there, done that. I feel like that'd be a really cheap way of like bringing back Shepard. I don't know how on earth they do it other than saying like Perfect Destroys canon. I don't know at this point. I feel like, because we have seen leaks, I say leaks in quotation marks, there was that Bioware gear store where an employee at Bioware had accidentally put one of the descriptions to the N7 Day poster as play. I think it was something like, again, I've covered it on the channel, but it was something like play again, rejoin Mass Effect's Commander Shepard's journey in the next title. And then Bioware took it down and they had to do a statement basically saying like, oh yeah, no, we haven't confirmed anything yet. To be fair, other than this recent news, I feel like Bioware have actually been quite transparent with what's going on. I feel like, if that's better or for worse, but especially at the minute it seems like it's for worse, because the sort of entire community is absolutely dunking on Bioware at the minute in terms of the layoffs. I think that at the minute, Bioware really aren't doing themselves any favours in terms of the lack of Dragon Age Mass Effect news, and then they just announced, oh, by the way, so I don't know why that's so loud. But hey-ho. So I lost my train of thought then. The audio just went really loud even though I've turned it down. The in-game rather. Not the stream, but what was I saying?
The turrets have a manual mode. Interesting.
I think that Mass Effect 4, I'm gonna call this now. I think if I'm gonna like predict the game as a whole, I do think it's gonna be single player only. I don't think there's gonna be only multiplayer. I do think it is going to be Mass Effect 4 straight after the original trilogy. I think it's going to include Shepard, it's going to Liara, Tali, Garrus, Miranda, Jacob, all of the classics, as well as some obviously new faces. And I do think it is going to be the Return of the Reapers. I really don't want it to be the Return of the Reapers. I think if the Reapers do return, I want it to be something that's actually meaningful, because I feel like, in my opinion at least, the Reapers, their story were done and finished in Mass Effect 3. I can't see that going, but hey, Arla Sunset, you alright? Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I feel like it's going to be a sort of Star Wars-esque thing, where, because Cerberus is more of an idea, it's not a person or a single entity. Like, an idea can't really be broken or so easily squashed, whereas a person obviously can. Ooh, hello. Just gonna, there we go. But yeah, I don't think obviously a person can be, sorry, a person can be easily squashed, but Cerberus is an idea, so I feel like somebody within Cerberus will essentially take the Elusive Man's mantle, and I don't know if they're interested in dark matter, the Geth telescope, time travel, and all that. I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea whatsoever. I do think that it's going to be a situation where they're either it's going to be intergalactic domination or something. But yeah, I do love this mission though. I really hope Mass Effect 4 has some, like, obviously, like, really deep character moments like the original, but it also has things like, really light humour and things like that. I don't want it to be on par with Andromeda, where a lot of Andromeda had really cringe-worthy dialogue. Don't get me wrong, Mass Effect, the original trilogy, has really cringe-worthy dialogue at times. It does. A lot, especially the elitists, will be like, no, it's perfect. Well, it's not. Some of that dialogue is cringy, but I feel like in the original trilogy, it's done a lot better. Because I think a lot of the original trilogy dialogue that is quote unquote cringy is done like that on purpose, and it's things like, I'm Commander Shepard and this is my favourite store in the Citadel. like absolute top quality quotes like that. It's just really like memey quotes, and things like the Volus from Mass Effect 2. You know, where you get the biotic Volus and he like injects himself and he becomes like a biotic god. Well, he thinks he's a biotic god. Right, here we go. Oh, I don't really want to pop this now, to be honest, but I may as well. I'll probably get it back dead quick. Oh, hello, that's not good. Wait, what? I actually can't see what's going on currently. I actually got pushed out of my well then. Yeah, I feel like it would be like a race against time, where it's like who can gain the most power, or MacGuffin. Ooh, Ostringer. So look at the roll I got.
No. Kate's ghost. She's dead.
I feel like, so I don't know if you guys seen Destiny have been doing loads of collaborative projects in terms of like they've been including items and gear from Ratchet and Clank, Ghost of Tsushima. I'm trying to think what else they've included. Assassin's Creed, God of War. I think Horizon maybe as well, Horizon Forbidden West. But I'd really love to see Mass Effect. Pretend Mass Effect comes out, so it's close to coming out, the new one. And its marketing is really good, it's doing really well. And they could do loads of collaborative efforts. They could do something with, say, Starfield, maybe, where you get some Mass Effect items and gear and armor and weapons in Starfield. You get some, you know, like armor in Destiny. Which I think, what else? No Man's Sky already did some stuff. Do you know, I haven't even checked what. Sniper rifle, scout rifle, machine gun, arc weapon, hand cannon. Cool. So, what did I get for Ostringer? In terms of rolls, it's not great. It's not bad either. We'll take that though. We'll take that indeed. Should I do some strikes? Yeah, why not? What is the burn this week? Solar and Strand. Well, I'm already Solar, and I feel like I may as well just keep Radiance, because obviously it's a support class, but one thing I'd like to see improved on in the next Mass Effect is the class system. Personally, I would actually like them to basically use the class system from Andromeda and build upon that, because I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I actually prefer Andromeda's take on it. But yeah, tell me, anyone who's watching currently, what do you guys think about the recent news from Bioware that has dropped within the past few days? And it's sort of been an ongoing thing, because at first I thought, oh, okay, they're making layoffs. Like, okay, they're refocusing the studio, fine. And then as soon as you then research into actually what's going on, it is a bit, it's not great. It's not great at all, and it's kind of very worrying in terms of Mass Effect and Dragon Age. More so Dragon Age. Dragon Age sounds completely effed. I've got to be honest. I could be wrong. The game could come out and it could be brilliant. Oh, don't tell me are they actually playing?
Okay.
Great.
Elizabeth it is. And once again,
And look, I got my little mini Sparrow. Also, another thing I'd like to ask anybody watching, would you prefer Mass Effect, as in, so Mass Effect 4, Mass Effect 5, Andromeda 2, whatever it's going to be called, would you prefer it to be open world, sort of like Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect Andromeda, or would you like it to be linear, like Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect 2, where it's more sort of corridor, cover-based shooting? Because personally, I'd actually like... I think I'd like the more linear sections, because obviously it's more cinematic. Obviously Andromeda had its cinematic moments, more so near the start and the end, but I do feel like they could... I think if it's a more linear game, I feel like they can make the game, polish it up a bit, whereas if it's open world, then it's going to have loads of jank, like Andromeda did. That's going to be a nightmare to develop. And I think especially... with sorry, I meant to say basically more Andromeda in terms of open worlds, but what I meant was, the open sections from one, where you're going to planets, landing with the Mako, and then, like traversing around and whatnot. Looking for, I don't know, Turian dog tags. Oh, no, wasn't it Turian insignias? Oh, I can't remember. It's been a while since I played Mass Effect 1. It was the Turian insignias, wasn't it? And then it was like searching for dead Asari commandos? Question mark. I'm probably gonna get flamed for like getting these like little tiny things wrong from Mass Effect 1. One thing I would like, if it is a more linear game, is the option to replay story missions. I know it's a bit hard to do because of how Mass Effect is structured, but I think if we had like a thing where we could replay main story missions, or either that or just like rewatch cutscenes with our choices, characters, and things like that. It's Tyrion insignias. Thank you, Robert. See, it's one of those things. As soon as I said it, I think what did I say first? I actually can't remember what I said first instead of Tyrion insignias. But yeah, I feel like Mass Effect 1 had loads of collectibles compared to the other games, but I remember every detail from every Mass Effect. I'm joking, no, I'm not as good as some of you guys. I've genuinely only been playing Mass Effect for 4 years. I played Mass Effect 3 back, like the demo on 360 back when it came out, and I thought, oh god, this is awful, this is terrible, I hate this game, I'm never playing it again. And then just before COVID, decided to play Mass Effect 1. That was an OG Mass Effect 1, not the Legendary Edition. This was pre-Legendary Edition announcement, actually. And I loved it. I fell in love with it. I will admit, I thought the first sort of hour, when you first get to the Citadel, I thought that was a bit rough. Because the game is the original. They sort of fixed it in the Legendary Edition, but the original release is really terrible at telling you where to go. And then after that, I just fell in love with the game. Played 2, played 3, played Andromeda, and I was like, wow, this is just love. And then, it was around that time. I think I finished Andromeda in 2021. And I just fell in love with the series, and it came at a perfect time because I started playing Mass Effect. I was near the end of Mass Effect 2, which is, in my opinion, one of the greatest gaming experiences I've ever had. It's one of the best games ever made, Mass Effect 2 is. At the time where they announced Mass Effect with the next one, as well as the Legendary Edition and Dragon Age at the Game Awards, I'm still yet to really get into Dragon Age. I played Dragon Age Origins, and I played a demo at an event for Inquisition, but I want to play the series in order rather than just sort of playing Inquisition and calling it a day. Because obviously I want all that context rather than just, the story and getting to know the characters, because what I don't want to do is not have a clue what's going on or who's what. I mean, it's this. Imagine just starting Mass Effect with Mass Effect 3 or Mass Effect Andromeda. Oof. There are some people that have just played Andromeda and nothing else, which is quite heartbreaking, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people. I do joke about Andromeda here, and I do actually get loads of hate comments on my videos where I make jokes about Andromeda's like memes and bugs. Like, I'll post like little memes in some of my videos, and people are like, actually Andromeda is one of the best games of all time. I'm like, okay. Again, it's a piece of art, so it's subjective, but I liked Andromeda. I really did. I can understand why people hate it. I can understand why people love it, but I'm sort of in the middle where I think it's a bit mid. It's okay. I enjoyed my experience. But yeah. Hello to everyone just joining. I've seen a lot of new faces, so thank you very much for checking out. It's just a chill stream talking about the next Mass Effect or Mass Effect General. Playing Destiny 2 because I've got to be honest, if I start a Mass Effect playthrough, I'm going to have to finish it. I can't just like dip in and out of other games. I'll have to start it and finish it. And I'm currently at the moment playing Final Fantasy 16. I'm going to have a video, sort of like review and a couple videos on Final Fantasy 16. I'm really enjoying it. Really recommend it if you're into RPGs. I actually really like how the game is structured. It's basically like it's a linear game, but it has open world. Nah, Robert, I've seen people in my comments who say they've just played they played Andromeda first, or they've only played Andromeda and they love it. I've had somebody actually email me on my business email telling me how much in a very nice way of putting it, how much I suck and how good Andromeda is. So there you go. I just think Andromeda failed in terms of its characters. I think its world building was okay. I think it was more just the enemies. I think the Ket were absolute trash. I think easily, other than the facial animations, the worst part of that game. I didn't think the story was terrible. It wasn't great, but I think certain characters were fine. I thought Vetra was very good, and I thought at times PB was okay. I went into the game fully like committed to romancing PB, and then I played the game and I thought, right, okay, it's just not for me. Yeah, I did not spend 60 pounds on Andromeda. I bought Andromeda for £2 brand new. Like, as in, like, brand new sealed with the multiplayer DLC code inside. And I love to say, so I actually bought Anthem to do my video on it for 99p, brand new sealed. It was the deluxe edition. I think it's I forget what it's called. Is it something of the Dawn like edition for Anthem? And I Amazon access, because I got it off Amazon. I think it was in Black Friday deal for like 99p, and Amazon actually sent me 2 copies by accident. So I just gave one to my sister and said, "There you go, play Anthem." And she was like, "Oh, thank you." And then yeah, I think she realised why I'd given it her for free. Well, one, also it's a free copy. I'm just gonna get this person here. Don't mind me. I've got my Crucible loadout on. I should really change it, but I'm very like CBA at the minute. Just wanted a chill Mass Effect stream. I'm not going to do as long as I've done the other 2 streams. I think I did them for like 2.5 hours. I'm probably going to keep it going a bit more for like another 30-40 minutes and then call it a day. But as I've got to, unfortunately, I haven't eaten my tea yet. I'm very hungry. I'm a very hungry boy. Speaking of hungry, I'm hungry for some Mass Effect. I'm sorry, that was so cringy, I couldn't say that. Yeah, no, genuinely, Mass Effect is... I'm very concerned about Mass Effect 4, especially with the recent news. Anthem mechanically is not bad at all. Well, I mean, I'd recommend watching the video I did on it if you want my full sort of 15-minute rant on it, but I think Anthem is one of those games, and Andromeda, where it's completely just like squashed potential. I think Anthem would have been really good. I think it would have been a Destiny killer if done correctly. Well, not a Destiny killer, but, you know, like a really good competitor. Because I am in the mindset of, I think, games, media, art, consoles, whatever it be, you've got to have good competitors, because if you don't, then you'll grow complacent and lazy. And I feel like Bioware have definitely got that now. I haven't played it yet because I'm going on holiday, this vacation for you American guys, this Friday, so I will be gone for a week. Don't worry, I will have videos like ready to go live. I guarantee, I bet you guys, like $10 million, Bioware will drop something. They'll drop some news, like a post, and a trailer, concept art, something, and I'll be away in Greece on a sunny beach, and I'll get a pop-up on my phone, and all hell's going to break loose, and I'll think, right, great. That'll be the worst time for them to drop a trailer. It's always like the worst time for them to drop a trailer, because a really good example of this is I booked this holiday 2 days before Bethesda announced the release date for Starfield, because I was going to do Starfield coverage, and then I couldn't sort of reschedule my holiday because obviously I've had to book time off work and other things, and yeah, so thanks Bethesda, which I feel like I've said many a time before. I'm going to drop this here, should be okay. There's a lot of fanatics down there. Oh, hello. Where did you come from? Oh, that guy just like moved me. Well, hopefully these guys can get their super. Oh, hello. But yeah, no. Imagine if they make Mass Effect 4 into a live service game. Imagine that. It's just like a multiplayer, online only, battle passes, loot boxes, early access release. But you know, Bioware have got proper like competitors now in Baldur's Gate 3, which is ironic because they made that franchise. And I think that perfectly sums up the current state of Bioware. Yeah, imagine if Mass Effect was live service though. That would be, ooh. I think I would have to upload like an hour-long rant, like an edited, like a proper edited rant on that. Like not just like a live stream. Like it would be a full like edited video, just saying like, what the hell is this? I actually don't mind. I am in the camp where I actually don't mind if Bioware did a multiplayer mode, if it was like a horde mode, sort of like, I would like something more akin to Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3 horde mode, where it's essentially like wave-based combat, where you can set up, like you'd get like a currency and you can set things like traps or get weapons or get power-ups or modifiers or whatever. I would love that, as long as it didn't take away from the single player, which obviously it would do. And a lot of the job listings that have been going into Bioware, which are quotation marks potentially for the next Mass Effect game. Okay, they've left, so I can't give them anything. Fantastic. Have been mainly for obviously single player stuff, but right, let's change course. Let's course correct here a bit. What do we know about Mass Effect 4 so far? So we know that it might not be called Mass Effect 4. We know that it is a Mass Effect title. We know it is developed by Bioware and EA. Well, sorry, licensed and published by EA rather. But we know it may have Liara in it because, like I said, it is it's not far enough into development yet where they have a solid idea of what's going on and they have a solid idea start to finish where they know exactly what the game's going to be. They can literally change anything. They could turn around and be like, hard lol, it's Andromeda 2. Andromeda 2, Electric Boogaloo, online service, live service game only. I think that would be them just giving up. Like, imagine if Dragon Age comes out and it does really badly. Like, we're talking sale-wise and critical reception does really badly, and then they just come out of Andromeda 2. I think Bioware may as well pack up and go home at that point. Even if Andromeda 2 would be a good game, I think that the reception to Andromeda was that bad that people back then, all they can remember is I can't talk right now, my face is too tired, and Ryder's weird running animations down the stairs. Those, unfortunately, they did patch those, but I loved that. I would. It's one of those like quote unquote weird animations or bugs I actually really liked because it was just so stupid. I really hope the next Mass Effect game has something similar, where like if we're playing a Shepard or whoever, Andromeda needs a remake. I feel like it's not been out enough yet for a remake, but then you've got studios like Naughty Dog that are like, apparently they're already remastering / remaking The Last of Us 2, which I think is hilarious. And I mean, they remastered / remade The Last of Us twice. And then don't even get me started on GTA 5. GTA 5 is the modern day Skyrim, even though it only came out a few years after Skyrim, but it's like on everything. I'm surprised they haven't done an Alexa GTA 5. Oh, hello. I think in terms of, I've got a video coming. So I had a video come out today. If you guys haven't seen it, it was talking about Mass Effect 3's iOS app, which is called Mass Effect 3 Datapad. But soon I'm going to have a video coming out. I've got the script written and thumbnail done and everything. I've just got to actually sort of record and edit it and whatnot for sort of 5 more characters I'd love to see. So in my first video, I sort of touched on who did I talk about? It was Tali, Liara, Garrus, Edie, Joker. I did EDN Joker as one because, in my opinion, they are a couple goals and all that. And then obviously Rex as well. I think in my next video I'd like to sort of talk about Kasumi, Miranda, Grunt. Grunt's a big one I'd like to see. I'd really be interested in what happens to Grunt. I'd be really interested to see what happens in the next Mass Effect. Because so one thing I've got is obviously we've got hints that the Geth are returning. We know the Geth are returning in some way, shape, or form. But what if, I don't know, will we be fighting the Geth? If we're not, I'm very excited because one enemy that I hate is the Husks, especially on Insanity. Mass Effect 2 Husks, Mass Effect 1 Husks still give me nightmares to this day. There's that one segment, I think it's in no, it's not Legion's companion mission, it's the mission where you meet Legion. I would actually put that on par with Halo Combat Evolved, the library on Legendary. Like, that in my opinion was, I've never, like, you know when you have something that's so difficult in a video game where your hands are just like drenched in sweat, you're solely focused, like you're almost shaking. Like, that would be me, like the library on Legendary, me like 11 years old doing that. Actually no, I would have been sort of 9 or 10 when I did it on Legendary, because when I was younger, when I played Halo, sort of as they came out, I didn't. I only played them on sort of normal because I was terrified of doing Legendary. Oh dear! Don't even get me started on Halo. I'm a big fan of Halo, and then Halo 4, 5, Infinite just ain't it, Chief. Yeah, I mean, so with Bioware at the minute. I've said this many times in the stream, but I'm going to repeat myself again because why not? Something to do, isn't it? I'm very worried about what's currently going on. I've heard things. So obviously we have to talk about Dragon Age because it does impact Mass Effect. Because once they're done with Dragon Age's developments, obviously they're going to move pretty much all the team over to Mass Effect, or at least help out with. And then obviously they'll keep like a skeleton crew, so to speak, working on Dreadwolf. You know, by patching bugs, doing whatever else. I don't know, but I've heard things from Dragon Age in terms of development where apparently people are saying the game's going to be too woke. Apparently the writing's really bad. Apparently the game's going to come out really buggy and unfinished. But again, this is coming. So a lot of those comments that, again, I'm not going to show them. I'm not going to post links to them. You can find them yourself. Basically, what happened was a lot of ex-Bioware devs recently and sort of in the last 2 years have gone onto Reddit, Twitter, Discord privately, and then obviously people have screen grabbed them and shared them online of things going on at Bioware. And Dragon Age is very alarming. I don't know about Mass Effect because I think Mass Effect is a ways off. I personally think with the recent news of what's going on, I don't think we'll be seeing Mass Effect until 2026, 27, which I think that statement there is the, you know, like when people put like the skull emoji they put like a comment, they put that skull emoji, say like a dead knees or dead comment. Yeah, I'd do that right now. Or, you know, that scream came out of nowhere. Also, that guy sort of had a very delayed death there. But yeah, I think that Mass Effect as a whole, I think I want to say it's in very good hands. I do think the people that have come forward and said they are working on the next Mass Effect have been really upfront. I don't know if you guys have seen, this is like very old news. This is sort of like 2 or 3 years like old news now, but they have actually got a couple of YouTubers who work on like Bioware lore, helping to sort of work on the lore and write the game and whatnot. I forget one of their names. That is like a content creator, and the other one more so on like Twitch and stuff. But yeah, so going back to Dragon Age, yeah, again, obviously the layoffs. Most of the layoffs have been from the Dragon Age team, and most of them have been like OG writers, from what I can see, who have been. Some of them have been with Bioware for like 26, 27 years, which is mental. A lot of them have been told though that they can. I think like a few of them have actually gone to things like Respawn Entertainment, and I think there was one other person who's gone to, I think EA Motive, I think, or DICE maybe. I can't remember. I'd have to have a look. I don't really want to spread misinformation, but yeah, a lot of there were a few Bioware devs who have left recently as part of the layoffs who have come out and said, sort of spoke against it. I don't know if they're allowed to do that because I don't know what the situation is with like NDAs. But it's not as if they've come out and said, "Oh, this is the ending of Dragon Age Dreadwolf." No, they've come out and said things like the game's not gonna. I think one famous quote from one of the recent departed devs was, "The game is not gonna feel like classic Dragon Age titles," which can be taken with a pinch of salt as well as can be taken in a few different ways. It could just mean like, "Oh, it's a new experience," or the other end, they could mean right. Because the first thing I think of is if you guys remember when the Force Awakens was coming out, Mark Hamill. Oh, sorry, not Force Awakens, The Last Jedi. When that was coming out, Mark Hamill was doing obviously marketing and press tours and whatnot and interviews. And in one interview, there's one really famous interview where he says, if you're coming into this thinking that it's going to be like classic Star Wars, then you're wrong. The Bioware cinematic universe. There you go. Where they just have everything's connected. So in terms of did they hire sort of new people, yes, but a lot of it was like 50 people in total that have been essentially sacked, to put it lightly. Some of them obviously have been replaced into other EA teams, but they haven't really like rehired a lot of people. I think they've rehired like a few positions, but they did that ages ago. So I think personally this isn't like a new thing. This is it isn't just a sudden announcement. Like, this has been in the works for a while. I mean, most companies do that, where it'll be like a slow transition, because obviously they'll have to train new staff and things like that. And personally, I don't mind having new staff, which I know is a very controversial opinion, because it breathes new air and sort of breathes new life into the franchise. But in my opinion, you can't just get rid of people who are like integral to the series, who have been, for example, I forget her name. Is it Mary Kirby? She's like one of the head sort of character writers for Dragon Age, and they've got rid of her. I think that is bonkers. And obviously with Bioware, in terms of Mass Effect, they have rehired a few older sort of Bioware devs, but people like obviously Casey Hudson left, and then Mac Walters. I know everyone's got their opinion on Mac Walters, for better or for worse, but whether you like it or not, he is one of the people that it is integral to the series for Mass Effect, especially Casey Hudson. If I'm not mistaken, not only is he a founding member of Mass Effect, isn't he a founding member of Bioware? I could be wrong there, to be honest. I was going to drop a well then, but I haven't played this strike in a while. Have I played Dragon Age yet? Great question. I have played Origins. I'm about halfway through Origins. I stopped my playthrough because I'm currently trying to finish Final Fantasy 16 for a video, and then Starfield will be coming out at some point. Oh, that's not good. Oh, it jumped right in front of me. My heart literally stopped then. I think we're good. I'm missing all my shots here. That guy's got it. He's all good. What do you guys think about... So, because if the next Mass Effect game is going to be single player only, I can't see them not having some form of microtransactions, because at the end of the day they've got to make money. Personally, I don't mind if it's cosmetic, sort of like how Star Wars has done it with obviously Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. By the way, that's another game I'm sort of pausing Dragon Age to play. I've still got my copy of Jedi Survivor. It's unsealed, it's unwrapped. I need to actually get in there and play it, but I do think if Mass Effect 4 has microtransactions, I don't mind if it's things like, skins, or I don't know what else they could do, like, it'd be a weird one. I don't mind if it's, like, I don't know, harmless things that you can just look at and go, yeah, I want that, or yeah, I don't want that. But if it's things like power-ups or pay-to-win elements, then yeah, it's just not, I am actually going to pop... Actually, no, I'm not going to pop... Actually, yeah, I am going to pop Wells. DLCs, I think Mass Effect DLCs, in terms of actual story content, I think have been really good. I think, obviously, the Shadow Broker DLC in Mass Effect 2 is quite good. I quite enjoyed that. And then I think the Citadel DLC was brilliant. I know everyone's got their opinion on it, and I understand where people come from in terms of saying, it's fan servicey and all that, but I think that was the whole point. I think they just wanted, something that was very... If you guys watch anime, it's like a beach episode in like an anime, where it's just pure fan service. It was like a chance for you to sort of visit your squad mates and romance and all that. And see, that's what I didn't like about Andromeda. Andromeda tried to do a Citadel-esque sort of thing where they had obviously the movie scene, and then they had like a few missions leading up to it, and it just wasn't well done, because Mass Effect 3 had obviously 3 games of context, whereas Andromeda had the same game, which obviously doesn't work as well. I'm missing half of these shots. I think I said this in my last stream, but it's weird to play on PC and then like come back to... I'm playing on my PS5 at the moment, and it's a bit odd in terms of I'm not very good at switching over from keyboard to controller, like, at all. I want to play Baldur's Gate 3. I think that's one thing I talked about earlier, but I'm waiting until sort of after... I don't know when to play it, because when I come back from my holiday/vacation, I'll be sort of knee-deep in Starfield, no doubt, so I don't know how on earth I'm going to squeeze Baldur's Gate 3 into there, because, again, it's one of those games where it's going to be a full RPG. I might take, like a couple breaks, but I can't see myself taking too many breaks. I'd like to finish things sort of start to finish. Fantastic. I'm just going to return to orbit real quick. Might just go back to the tower actually and reclaim... What bounties did I finish then? I need to... see, this is one thing I'd actually like to play Destiny more, but I just don't have time. Destiny is a game that you can only succeed in if you're basically no-lifing it. It's one of those sort of like MMOs, and I don't have time anymore to play games, which sucks. In terms of my actual IRL job, as well as like content creation, which is technically a second job. I'd like it to be a main job, to be honest, but I don't have I don't have the income to basically support quitting a job full time. It's nice having my full time income mixed in with obviously the content creation, but again, I don't really do this for the money, because I did have a few comments that basically say that I think, so what happened was, earlier on in the year, I clickbaited a video to hell, because I was quite new to YouTube. I wanted to see what would happen. It was basically a mini experiment where I clickbaited the title, thumbnail, and then just did that, and I sort of regret doing it, but again, it's one of those where it was a learning experience, and I had lots of comments on the video saying, "Oh, you're doing this for money," and all that. So I haven't made money on YouTube for a while. It was only, I think, January this year where I got 1k subs, which is basically the threshold for being YouTube partner, where you get, you can make money off ads, and I don't even make that much money It's just almost like a side, I'd almost call like a side pocket money, which is quite nice. Because my videos are very varied. My Mario Kart and Mass Effect videos do very well. Well, well in my opinion at least. And then everything else I do doesn't. But that's fair enough. Again, I'm not having to go at anyone. That's just how it is. It's very hard to grow on YouTube. If you guys are sort of interested in doing a channel, in my opinion, it's very hard, especially if it's gaming, because the market is so saturated. You have to sort of find a niche and go with it. I mean, that's what I've done with Mass Effect. In my opinion, if I had to choose, I wouldn't be a Mass Effect YouTuber, and I'd actually argue and say that I'm not. But I enjoy I enjoy being in the Mass Effect community. I think it's a nice community to be in. A lot of people are quite nice. I've had a couple people where I've had very strange interactions, or I've had people sending me death threats for having certain views on Mass Effect. But especially Andromeda, I've had straight up death threats for saying certain things about Andromeda, which I think is just really funny, in my opinion at least. Also, this quest is just going through all the story quests. Oh, we get a Monte Carlo. I've heard it's quite good now, to be honest. Why is it telling me to go to the Dreaming City? Okay, I've got an exotic quest to go to the Dreaming City, apparently. Cool. I love the Dreaming City. I'd love a area in Mass Effect like the Dreaming City. It reminds me of... Oh, God, what's it called? I'm getting exposed here. What's it called? Rivendell from Middle-earth, Lord of the Rings. It's the closest thing that I can compare it to. I just love this sort of aesthetic. Oh, hey, Nicholas. But basically, also, hey to anyone who's just joined. We're just talking about Mass Effect 4 and whatnot. But yeah, in terms of... Yeah, I have had straight-up death threats for Mass Effect Andromeda. I had one person that sent me like death threats, and they were like, emailing me on my private email, which I don't have advertised anywhere on the channel. I never have. They were sort of sending me, what was it? Passages from the Bible, telling me to essentially repent for my sins, which I found really funny. So I just blocked them. I blocked them on YouTube, Twitch, everything, Twitter. By the way, if you guys don't know, I do have a channel Discord where people just hang out and chill out and talk in there. And I also have I'm also on Twitter. I'm not too active on Twitter. Like, I will sort of, post... Like, I'll post things now and again. I'll mainly, like, promote my own things, but... Jesus, found your email. The problem, so obviously I've got nothing against it at all. Personally, I'm not religious, and it was just weird. It's just a weird experience. I've had a few of them, but generally I've had a lot of nice people. A lot of nice people who are currently watching this or in the chat now, who are sort of what I'd call regulars, which is very odd because I'm quite a small channel, so it's... I'm hoping one day, so my goal for this channel is obviously I want to do other things as well. But is this for the I actually don't know what this quest is for. But my goal for this channel is to be sort of like the Mass Effect guy. And I know there's already, if you guys watch any other Mass Effect YouTubers, there's Mr. Hawthorne, as well as, I'm really sorry if I mispronounce any of the names here, there's also Calla Elizabeth, as well as Jackdaw. I think the main ones are. I don't really watch anyone else in particular on Mass Effect exclusively, but I'd like to be at one point known as like the Mass Effect guy, especially when the next Mass Effect game comes out, which is probably not going to be until 2030. I'm joking. It's probably going to be 2025, which what? Actually, I better get out of the way of mobs here. Hang on. Whoa, my tiny little sparrow. I think Mass Effect could do with having like a little mini vehicle like Sparrows and Destiny, where you can just like hop on and go. If it's an open, if it's more open environments, obviously. I just want to see what this quest actually entails. It's for the Wishender exotic. Okay. I'm really glad that they've redone that quest, because if you guys haven't played Destiny, that quest was horrific. It would like glitch and then fill out your inventory with loads of crap. It's telling me to go to the moon. Why? I suppose that's for. Yeah, I've got to do a load of quests. I hate this, by the way, having like 2 million things on your HUD. I really hope Mass Effect doesn't do that in terms of the next game, and that's for. Actually, do you know what? Calm it down a bit on the stream. I'm going to do a spot of fishing. And yes, if you haven't played Destiny for a while, you can now fish in Destiny 2. And my main goal here is to say that I'd love a fishing mini game in the next Mass Effect game. If you guys are sort of like OG Mass Effect players, the OG trilogy, there was that. I don't know if it's Mass Effect 1. I think it's in Mass Effect 2 actually, where it's a side quest where you meet two Krogans in the Citadel, and they're on about basically nicking and eating the fish from the aquarium and the lakes and the pools in the Citadel. I feel like, you know, if there were like little fishing mini games, I'd love that. I love fishing mini games. I'm a sucker for things like that. I really am. But yeah, I can't wait for the next Mass Effect game. I'm going to pre-order it, collector's edition, all the rest of it. As long as... Yeah, Final Fantasy did have a good fishing mini game. You're absolutely right. I actually can't wait for the next Mass Effect game, but unfortunately we're going to have to. LOL. Lamau. I cannot... actually, where is the fishing mini game? It's over here, isn't it? It's like over there. Yeah, I thought so. Because usually, I think in the last update, it had like a little pillar of light that would like direct you towards it. Am I in the complete wrong? I haven't gone fishing in Destiny in a while, so I apologise. It's here somewhere. It's along the... there we go. The Hanar homeworld. Do you think it will be set in the far future or a few years after ME3? I don't know. I think if Bioware want to go bonkers, I think they'll do... you know, like... I think if they want to go bonkers, I think they'll do 100-year, 200-year gap. If they want to play it safe, which I do think they will play it safe, in terms of to win back the old fan base and everything else, I think that we're going to get a game 3 or 4 years... sorry, 3 to 10 years set after Mass Effect 3. But if it's me speaking personally, I'm actually on the fence. I really am on the fence. I would love to see something brand new, where we see certain characters return because of their age. But then again, I would feel awful knowing that if we're playing in the future and characters like, I don't know, like Tally, for example, are dead. I would. Oh man, that would break me. That would break me. Do you know what I've just realised? If you play Andromeda, because obviously it's set 600 years in the future, Tally's she's straight up dead. Oh man. But yeah, no, I do think it will be set after Mass Effect 3. I'd love it at the same time. I've got to be honest though, if it is a game set shortly after ME3, I think that'd be more interesting, because obviously we get to see basically what happens as a fallout to Mass Effect 3's endings. But the only problem with that is then BioWare have got a monumental task. Then they've got to essentially factor in 4 different endings and then hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different sub-choices that led to those endings. Because what if a character returned in the next game, but then in your playthrough personally, they died? See, the way that I found that they could go around this would be importing save data from the Legendary Edition. But that's not really a viable option, especially on console. Again, I've already done a video on that, if you guys want to check that out. I talk about that in more detail, sort of the mechanics of how that could work. They could have a website like the original trilogy where like you upload your Shepherd to it or something, but I think they will go the way of having an interactive comic. And then you pick from that interactive comic like romances, I don't know, all the again though it would have to be like a 20-minute comic, because it'd have to go over Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 3. Either that, or they just completely negate 1 and 2 and they just focus on 3, which is, that's very risky in my opinion. But yeah, if you don't know, Destiny 2 has fishing, and you can, if you go to the helm, you can deposit your fish and you can actually see them. Wait, what? Oh, there's the public event. I got very confused then. Can I... I'm really confused with what's happening currently. I didn't know that it did that. So I'm just going to quickly pop back to the helm. I'll show you guys like the... I'm really sorry if there are Destiny 2 players and they're like, why is he talking about the most simplest of things? But a lot of people don't play Destiny 2, which is fair enough. Yeah, I think username. I think they will do exactly that. Where they have two options. You essentially have two options where you're a new player, and then it will just basically, I don't know. For example, you're a brand new player, and then it will give you like perfect destroy, like as the canon ending. Or if you're a returning player, you then go through this interactive cutscene or comic or whatever it is, picking your choices from 1, 2, 3, like the main choices, and then go from there. Either that, or they do a comic in sort of all circumstances, if you're new or old, returning veteran, whoever. And then, oh, there you go, there's all my fish. Going around, I love this. I think it's an absolute class feature. I'm hoping Mass Effect. Imagine, right, next Mass Effect game, you like go out and you fish, and then you see the fish in your quarters or wherever it be on the ship, like in a. Yeah, in God of War, in Ragnarok, you can have you have like an interactive cutscene, don't you? Which I think's nice, but I don't know what they're going to do for the next Mass Effect game. I really don't. We're years off, which from a standpoint where I've got my own quote unquote Mass Effect news channel now, is it's not looking good. It's kind of like being KFC and not serving chicken. But at the same time, I don't just want to make content that is completely just like pulling things out of thin air. I'm going to play one game of Dares of Eternity, by the way, then I think I'm going to call it a day in terms of the stream, just because man's got to eat, man's got to cook. I'm a hungry little boy. I can't be bothered to check actually what these are, so I don't have any sidearms on me, I don't think. Oh, why does it fill your... Oh, that's so stupid. Oh, I hate that. Why does it fill your inventory slot, Bungie? That's terrible game design, that is. They got it so right. They literally changed that quest from filling out your sort of inventory with like loads of different things to a quest, which is brittle. But then it takes up an exotic slot in your inventory, which, yeah, I've got to actually finish the Wish Ender quest at some point. I'm just never really. But I actually know I did finish it once, but then the game glitched and didn't actually give me the weapon, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, going back onto Mass Effect, just as a sort of recap, sort of more towards the end of the stream here, I do think that the next game is a while off. I really do, and that does trouble me. Again, from a Mass Effect YouTuber point of view, I'm not too thrilled, to say the least. But at the same time, I'd rather have a brilliant game that isn't rushed. I hope the next Mass Effect game, if I have to sort of talk about what I want it to be personally, I'm hoping that it's serious. I'm hoping it takes itself seriously as a true sequel to Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda. I do hope as well they don't just like pull a sort of, as a Men in Black sort of forget button, or forget beam, or forget light. I forget what it's actually called. It's the neuralizer, isn't it? I haven't seen Men in Black in a very long time, so and they basically say like, oh yeah, Andromeda just never happened. I really hope they don't do that. I do hope there are, like a few Easter eggs to like the Andromeda Initiative and things like that. If it is a Mass Effect 3 sequel, I'd love to see some Easter eggs for the Benefactor from Andromeda. I think that would be an excellent thing to touch on. But yeah, I think they'll go full nostalgia bait for the next Mass Effect. I do think they'll be like, hey, remember the Geth? Hey, remember the Citadel DLC? Hey, remember that time you cured the Genophage or didn't? Again, it's things like that. It's like, curing the Genophage is a massive decision. It's not just a like simple thing where, it's like, is Conrad Werner alive? Yes or no? It impacts the galaxy on a humongous scale. That does. It's not just a small decision. So how on earth are they going to factor that in? See, this leads me to believe that the next game will be set in the future. But then again, we've seen evidence already from Bioware in the N7 day posts that it's set shortly after Mass Effect 3. So, because if they have a game that's set into the far future, they can just turn around and be like, oh, it's like Andromeda, it's a new start. And and whatnot, because we can say, oh, this happened with the Genophage, this didn't happen, like if it's set hundreds of years in the future, because it can leave you to speculate. Whereas if it's set right after, they're going to have to answer those questions. I don't envy the writers team at Bioware, I really don't, especially since they can be laid off at any moment. I think it's really sad to think about the layoffs at Bioware, because at the end of the day, I think people forget. They just think like, oh yeah, it's video game company, whatever. But at the end of the day, this is like real life human beings that have lost their main income or job potentially, and not everyone from Bioware will get a job elsewhere. They may have to. It could impact their life on a massive scale. So my heart goes out to everyone affected at Bioware, who's been unfortunately let go and sacked. Which is, I'm not, and this sounds horrible, but I'm not as saddened by the news because I'm not a Dragon Age fan, so to speak. Like I'm playing through Origins, I'm enjoying it. I've taken like a sort of 1 month and a half sort of break because most of the layoffs have been Dragon Age related. But again, that will also affect Mass Effect in some way, shape, or form. I'm sorry, I think I chose my words very poorly there. I do think that the layoffs suck. I think it's just not good at all. I think if you guys don't know, it's because EA have actually had quite a substantial profit loss, which is very surprising since Jedi Survivor came out, and obviously they've got Apex Legends, which is the sort of moneymaker, and Apex Legends does quite well. I'm trying to think, what else do EA currently have? I mean, they've got Battlefield, but as a hardcore Battlefield fan myself, okay. I do think that Battlefield is currently also in the shitter. I don't think Battlefield has been good since Battlefield 1. And I don't think it's been. Oh yeah, of course. I don't know how I forgot that, but yeah, like EA Sports FC, they've now got F1, NHL, all the rest of it. Those are their obviously main money maker. I think FIFA, which obviously is now called EA Sports Football Club, is their main money maker at EA. That outsells majority of whatever else they've got. Have I ever played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic? In terms of the RPGs, yes. I've also played in like the other PS2 Star Wars games and whatnot. I have also played the MMO, but I don't know. I'm not a big MMO guy, which is ironic since I'm playing Destiny, and I also sometimes play Final Fantasy 14, but I haven't played that in a while because I stopped paying for it. Because I hate the idea of having something like Final Fantasy 14 and then being pay to play. A subscription model, I hate that. I think that's really bad sort of business practice, to be honest, but fortunately it's not my decision. Imagine if Mass Effect was pay to play. was like a. I actually, well, I'm gonna say something now. I actually wouldn't mind a Mass Effect MMO. I think Mass Effect would be a perfect universe to have an MMO. You could have like a play as Asari, Quarian, Krogan. I think it'd be great, but it will never be made. I think a Mass Effect MMO would only be made if the next Mass Effect game came out and it was literally like restarted the franchise, so to speak, where it's a 10 out of 10, everyone loves it, it's sold like gangbusters. I think if they had released Mass Effect 3, sorry, Mass Effect 4 around now, I think it would have done even better, because obviously you'd have the sort of more recent hype of the Legendary Edition, which I thought. So when they announced it, I was in the. Oh god, I'm gonna die, aren't I? Ugh. I was in this sort of mindset of, oh yeah, they're gonna like release the next Mass Effect soonish, and then they just never did, because they basically pulled a Square Enix and said it was that trailer, by the way, the teaser trailer was more for the shareholders, because it was more just to say like, okay, so we've done really badly with Andromeda and Anthem, but here's the next Mass Effect game, and it's got fan favourite Liara T'Soni, and here's Dragon Age, it's got another fan favourite character that everyone loves, and it's going to be more like the old games. That was more for the shareholders, because whether you like it or not, or whether you're a massive sort of Bioware elitist, Bioware are in the shit at the moment. Especially this week with all the news going on, but you can't just come from Andromeda, which got memed to hell, and then Anthem, which was a commercial failure, so much so that this year, I think it has already, I haven't actually checked, but I do believe Anthem servers are now shut down. I know this year they are shutting down. I believe it might be August, September. I actually don't know. If anyone could check, that'd be great. But I don't have it installed, and I don't really want to install it. Ooh. Oh, hello there. But yeah, if I just really hope it's good. I hope they don't rush it. I hope the story's good. I hope the obviously the big things for me are story and characters, because I think that's where Andromeda failed. I think, like I said earlier, I think there's only like really a very small handful of characters from Andromeda that I think are on par with the original trilogy. I wouldn't even say that. And what I mean by that is like the lower tier original trilogy characters, like your Jacobs and your Vegas. But yeah, if I had to talk about characters, spoiler for the next video on the channel, by the turn that I haven't already talked about on the channel, I'd love to see Grunt, Miranda. I wouldn't mind seeing Jacob again. I wasn't a big fan of Jacob. I want to put this down. I'm getting bored of using Scorch Cannon. Bit late for a Well of Radiance, but you know, something to do. Yeah, I'd love to see Grunt, Miranda, Jacob, Vega. Imagine seeing like all your choices play out. Like you see Vega as like an N7 operative. You see Jacob as a father because he has like a child, doesn't he? September 30th is Anthem's Doomsday. Oh god.
One door holds your final opponent.
Weirdly enough, in terms of revenue wise, that's around the release date of EA Sports FC, I believe. So I think EA will be fine if they shut down the Anthem servers, which is a shame because it's an online game, so it won't actually be preserved. It'll be lost forever. Oh no, it pushed me slightly. Oh, almost jumped then. Do you guys think that the Reapers and Collectors will return? I'd love to see that discussed by you guys. I talked about this earlier, but I really hope they don't. I don't know if they're going to do Remnant stuff. I feel like that would be the next sort of direction to go in. Either that or they just keep it grounded and do like Cerberus, or maybe Shepard goes against the Alliance, because obviously you got that voice clip Well, in the secret transmission from N7 Day, where Liara, I forget what she says now, isn't it? I've watched that transmission like 10 million times because I've included it in a lot of my videos. But it's the one where she's like, she talks about the council, and it sounds like there's a Geth character, or at least Geth sort of esque voice line. I thought he would be made damageable from the get go here. Will I miss this? I think so. I love Dares of Eternity. I will admit it can get a bit boring because it's not really like the loot's just not there. But yeah. I don't mind like if they keep Mass Effect single player, and then if they include like, I don't know, if they include like online elements such as maybe I don't know how they could do it without multiplayer. I don't want them to go Battle Pass multiplayer. I do not want that at all. I think that would, you know, I think that would ruin it. But I'm trying to think of a way that they could do it. Maybe have like a Mass Effect hub of some kind where you can like maybe like a almost like a not a chat but like a forum where you can go and like share your builds, share your characters. Yeah, I don't know, like a companion app. Like I covered in today's video, which is an excellent segue. I can't get a crit on this guy, he keeps moving. Why am I still using this linear fusion rifle? I would like to see better bosses in the next Mass Effect game. In my opinion, the bosses in Mass Effect sort of history have been rather weak. I think that Andromeda's final boss, don't even get me started on that, I think that was a complete joke. I went into that final boss thinking, right, this is it, and then I absolutely just cheesed him. I think I maybe spent 2 minutes fighting that boss. Where you fight, I don't even see. This is how bad the enemies are. In it's the Ket, but isn't it? Is it the Archon? Is that his name? I feel like it's the Archon or the High Priest, something like that. I'm just not a fan of the Ket. I think it's like, Mom, I want the Reapers, but honey, we've got the Reapers at home. The Reapers at home, and then it's like, this is the Ket. They sort of did have like, I guess, elements taken from both the Reapers and Collectors in terms of they obviously they were like DNA splicing. Cool. And I think that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to be honest, I'm very tired, very hungry. Thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. Like I said, if you guys are sort of new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe and whatnot. We do have a channel Discord if you guys want to go on there, just, you know, chat with fellow Mass Effect fans. But oh no, just to answer a quick comment I've just seen, no, the next Mass Effect game will not be cancelled. Mass Effect is Bioware's bread and butter. That it will not be cancelled. I think they would absolutely just like decimate their shareholders if they cancelled it. But no, anyway guys, thank you so much. I do apologise, I do have to go because I've got to cook and eat, and I've got work tomorrow morning, the joys of working. But thank you so much for watching, and like I said, we've got a channel Discord, so if you want to chat with fellow Mass Effect fans, you can do there. If you guys want to check out the channel, did have a video that went live today, so thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all the people that have joined who are brand new, sort of new faces that I've seen. It's been great chatting with people, answering comments, and just waffling on about Mass Effect, so thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Good night and goodbye, or good evening, depending on where you're from. Or good morning. But yeah, see you guys. Bye.